Hi everyone, welcome to another sketchbook tour. Sorry it took me so long to do this one because this has actually been finished for a while, but I really didn't like how it turned out, so I've been putting it off. But yeah, now I'm trying to record with my phone instead to see like if the quality is as good as my camera. If it is, great. If it's not, then I'll go back to my camera. But it's just as easy for me now to set this up because I have a new laptop and I don't have an SD card reader anymore, so I need to get that. But for now, I want to try my phone, so we'll see. So yes, welcome. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I always feel so formal when I say stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to be my June to September 2024 sketchbook tour. Now the reason I didn't enjoy using this sketchbook is because it is I don't know if you can kind of see that, it's a Talon's art creations book. It's not very clear, but I was really excited to use it because it's like pure white paper, which I thought in my mind would help with like really emphasizing like color, but I really didn't like how anything felt on this paper. Like watercolor and any kind of wet mark, like juicy kind of markers would just make everything look really spotty, and I don't know. Anyway, I didn't like it. So this is just my little opening. Anyway, let's start properly. So first, I thought it might be a good idea to do like a self-portrait a month. I've seen a few people doing this and they always turn out really cool. And I was like, oh, well, I'm a portrait artist. I really should be doing something like that to kind of keep my practice levels kind of like stable. So I started off with this one and I hate it. It's not that it doesn't really look like me, but it's just really unflattering, and I just really wasn't in the zone. It was kind of one of the first times that I kind of realized that the paper wasn't going to be as good as I was hoping, because all of this orange stuff here is like ink and it just looks so dull, and the paper looks really kind of like mottled underneath it. So I kind of felt immediately that this wasn't going to be a really fun sketchbook to work in. This though kind of turned me around a little bit. It's an acrylic gouache painting of like a photo that I took when my partner and I were in Japan, and I still have like loads of photos on my phone, and I have so much stuff to go through still and that I wanted to paint. So I found this, which I'd been meaning to do for a while, of like this like abandoned house that we passed one day. And I just tried painting it, and I think it came out pretty good, actually, considering that I hate painting buildings and stuff. That was that. It was a nice little exercise, and it was like a brief little glimpse into kind of like how the sketchbook could have gone. And it didn't really go that way, but look, that's fine. And then I just did like a quick little painting or whatever. You can kind of see how the paper kind of like makes the paint granulate a little bit. That's not actually the watercolor, that's the paper. So yeah, it's just lots of little stuff like that. This is a character, an OC from my hypothetical comic that I'm gonna do. Like, I know I keep talking about it, and I have like a little notebook with all of these like things in it, and I just haven't started it yet, but I'm like really psyching and building myself up to do it. So hopefully, oh sorry, that's my chair, it's not me, don't worry. But this is like a character who's like a classmate of one of the main characters, and I just had this really specific like expression that I wanted to try. Yeah, I mean I really like how this one turned out, and this is kind of how she looks normally, so I just thought that was cute. Some hand studies of my own hand, and I'm still kind of like hovering between doing like anatomy studies and stuff, so I got myself a few books this year as well. Yeah, I've just been kind of flicking through them, trying to copy like musculature, but I'm still really kind of like, it's still a little bit complicated for me to wrap my head around. So even when it's kind of broken down simply, I'm still a little bit like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so more kind of like anatomy studies. I think these were taken from, I think I copied these from the books that I had. I actually can't remember. They're not the worst drawings I've ever done, but like, again, it's just because I know this marker was like running out as well, but just, it doesn't look nice in the book, and I know that's kind of my fault, but I feel like if the paper looked well and the marker kind of worked well on the paper, then it would just automatically kind of look nice, but it just doesn't. Just another study. All of these were like little test ideas for the trip that I went on at the end of July with Sophie McPike and like a whole bunch of other people, and everyone was kind of like talking about getting bits and pieces together, like little gifts for everyone. So obviously I wanted to do my own little thing, and I was just trying to design like a little sticker. I mean, I think what I ended up doing turned out kind of cute, so yeah. I don't really like how these look, but I love this page though, this spread. It's so simple, but I had this photo on my phone for a while and I was like, oh, it's so cute, I want to do it. It's just of like our family dog, Harriet. I just wanted to do that, and I think it turned out really cute. This is just a tryout, I guess, of like, I have these little art graph. Oh, I have it here. This thing. And it's just a pot of like graphite, water-soluble graphite that you can just wet and put your brush in, and like I just painted with it a little bit here. I'm not really sure why I did it. I just kind of noticed that I had the material and I never use it, so I really like how it looks, so maybe in the future I'll use it a bit more. Obviously I didn't know what to do. I think I was testing out some new watercolors here as well. They look alright. I mean, again, it's like because of the paper, the colors aren't as like vivid as I feel like they should be, but they're fine. Little study, I guess, of me as I was drawing, and I think I was just watching like an art video on YouTube as well. I'm not oh, this was my pencil case. I was like, what's that? Oh yeah, okay, so every now and again, like every few years, I have like this lineup of Pokemon gym leader characters who I've been like consistently redesigning and redrawing like every few years since like the age of 10, I think I first drew them. And I drew them again when I was 15 and 18 and 20 something, and I was kind of like, okay, well, it's been a long time now. I'm 33, so I should probably give them another go and see how I would like do them now. But what I did instead, normally I would redesign them, like I would keep the design progressing in a way that I feel would kind of be like how I would design them now. But instead what I did here is I actually went all the way back to my original designs that I did when I was 10, and I just started literally drawing those designs as I would now today. And I think they came out so cute, and actually I much prefer how some of them came out compared to like the other kind of alternate designs that I've done. Like I love this guy, Tony. He's the grass type gym leader, and he's like an absolute brick of a man, huge, and doesn't look like he has like a brain cell between him and his Bulbasaur, but like he's just, I can't even like explain it really. I just really love them. And they've been with me kind of like consistently through my developmental years and everything, so it's just like I like revisiting them every now and again. They just feel like some really good old friends that like I draw every now and again. This was also the year last summer where my best friend got married. I have like some blocked off pages because there are sketches from like the wedding that like, yeah, I just don't want, it's private, I don't want anyone to see them except for my friend, so I'm just going to like, I have them already kind of clipped aside. So yeah, sorry, you won't see those bits. But this was like a bath filled with flora outside of the window of the place that my partner and I were staying. So yeah, I just sketched that. And then I went back to the gym leaders. She's my favourite. Her name's Natalie, and I have no idea why it's Natalie, but she's like the very first gym leader, and she's the ghost type gym leader. So the only thing actually that I will show about like the wedding drawings are like the food, like the menu that we had, because I thought these drawings turned out really cute. Hate this stupid portrait that I tried from Pinterest, I think, and it was like a nice kind of lighting effect, and I just couldn't do it that day. I think when I posted like on Instagram, I had like a post-it note covering her face. I just had like her eyes peeking through. But yeah, so here it is. Here's the full picture. The next couple of pages are from like a day outing that I did with my parents one day during the summer. It was just a nice little day trip for my mum's birthday. So we went out towards like a place called Sheep's Head on the coast. So these were just a couple of drawings that I did on the way. This was like this massive, really gnarled tree. Yeah, that's it. Oh, you can see kind of like the paint from on the next page, like bleeding through. So this was a watercolor painting I did at Sheep's Head, and God, it was so windy that day. Like, obviously you can't like really paint that, but yeah, the wind was intense. And then there was this little guy who kept like walking around our table where Mum and I were like drawing and painting. He was obviously waiting to get some kind of food, I don't know. But anyway, I really like, here I was trying to draw him like in the moment, but he obviously kept moving. So I took a photo of him and then like that turned out much better. I also really like this little picture. It was just like a woman, I think, on her bike. She passed us while we were in the car, and I like quickly took a photo of her just because it was so like sunny and bright and she looked so kind of carefree. I really liked it. This is like a spread that I actually really like in the whole thing. I was just practicing with watercolors, but I'm really happy with the lighting effects. This was like the next self-portrait, which also didn't turn out very well. But mainly it was just like a page for me to kind of just throw a bunch of colours onto, because I also brought like little pans of the gouache paint that this is. I gave like a little sample to everybody in the art trip that I went on. So yeah, 19th of July, that was a little bit before the trip started. I actually really like how this one turned out as well. I think I just threw like some leftover, some like fluorescent paint, and then I just drew like another photo from the Sheep's Head day and then an actual sheep that was there as well. These are just from Pinterest. I'm not really sure. I think I had like a really long stretch of not knowing what I wanted to draw, so I just did a couple of like random bits from Pinterest. Okay, so I'm gonna have to skip those pages as well. This is the next monthly portrait that I did, and I'm looking very tired and like exasperated. I think the likeness in it is much better than the other two, but it's still a little bit off, and it makes me look a little bit severe as well. So I think after this I just kind of gave up. I don't really like doing self-portraits that much. This was, I think I got to a point where I was like, I am really not enjoying this sketchbook. What do I normally like to draw? And like, what have I not done properly? The answer usually is character design. And I love doing fantasy character designs. So I had this idea for a Lamia character. So I just decided to do a couple of sketches of her. Nothing really super revolutionary in terms of design, but I just wanted to get this idea down. Did a kind of a proper, it's not like the worst thing I've ever done. Proportionately, she's extremely weird, but I've never drawn a face like this before, so I think it actually turned out okay. And then I just went right back to finding pictures on Pinterest. I was looking up like medieval, like illuminated manuscript creatures and monsters, and just the way they kind of like interpreted mythological or folklorish creatures. So like the Mandragora. I got really enamored with this Mandragora kind of image, so I kind of stuck with her for a little while. This was just a bunch of nonsense. I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but she's cute. Alraun, I'm not really sure how you say the name, but like I found this particular kind of drawing also on Pinterest, because yeah, that's all I do when I don't know what to draw. There was this drawing of Alraun and I really liked it, so I just copied it, and I started using this kind of like, I started using the Pentel brush pen as well, which I've had for ages and I never use it, so I actually really like how it looks. Yeah, not much more to say about that. Carried on with it. I think I referenced this from Pinterest, and then I drew this referencing my drawing, and neither of them turned out like. And that's all how I felt in the moment. I can't draw right now. It's okay. I'm trying to be a little bit more forgiving to myself when I'm in this kind of state, because this one has lasted a very, very long time. Like even now, I still kind of feel like I'm struggling for the last couple of months to like get much motivation. I really like this drawing. It feels really like serene. So yeah, another thing about character design, again, I was kind of thinking like, oh, I haven't done one of my Conin characters in a really, really long time. So I just looked up a photo of like a random rabbit and drew a character from that. I put too much detail into her here, and then I ended up simplifying her here. And I think that was like the most successful drawing. And it took me all of like a minute to do, 2 minutes. This is probably one of the worst spreads. These are of like 2 of my characters, Logan and Sven. Just really didn't know what to do. This is also a mess. This was referenced from like a plaster cast of like a statue that we have in our local art gallery. So I had a photo of that and I just drew it. This guy is funny. I also found him on like those illustrated manuscript photos, I guess, on Pinterest. I have no idea what he's supposed to be, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Oddish. A weird Oddish. He was funny. I just copied that picture as well. This was kind of like a continuation of this character here, which was then inspired by the mandragoras that I'd been drawing before, so I was trying to develop her into something. I really like how this one came out. I feel like that one was successful, but the other 2 not so much. It's fine, they're not the worst things I've ever done, but I just hate like the composition on the 2 pages. So at this point I was really, really stuck with what I wanted to draw, so I went onto Instagram and I was kind of like, give me some ideas, please. So like, yeah, every single different color is like a different request, and that was really fun. Like that kind of got the creative gears going a little bit. Like somebody asked me to draw a dragon and then I realized that I didn't know what I was trying to do here, so that just ended up really weird. But yeah, I really like this little fairy, and then my sister asked me to draw my niece as well, and I think she turned out really cute. Oh yeah, okay, so here I went back again to the notion of character design, because I was like, okay, not just any character design, I have to do my own OCs, because that's when I really have like the most fun. So this character is a redesign from a really, really old character that I did like when I was a teenager, whose design was completely obsolete now and I didn't like it, so I've just kind of repurposed her into this character, who then becomes like the girlfriend of my character Rune's brother, Rudy. So I had initially done her with this kind of hairstyle. Like they're supposed to be like 19, and I kind of felt that she looked a bit older than that, so I gave her these kind of little twin bun things, I guess, low twin buns, and I think it just kind of makes her look really youthful and cute. So that worked out a bit better. Then I was trying to figure out her name as well, if I should change it, but I haven't quite figured that part out yet. But yeah, so I was just doing a couple of different ideas there for her. I think this was another Instagram request, or did I just do it on my own? I can't remember. Oh no, this was also an Instagram request. I really like how this one turned out because it's so weird. And then this is more like hair design kind of ideas for the previous character, and that's where I kind of settled on this one. And then these are Reese, Logan, Sven and Tig. I just felt like drawing them all in the one scene and doing this kind of like angle. The proportions are completely off, but I love this picture. It looks so kind of like wholesome and like, you know, they're best friends hanging out. I really like it. Also, yeah, okay, I was practicing more of like my characters as well, because quite a few of them would be kind of like African American, and I don't really draw many African American kind of like physiological elements normally. So I was just kind of practicing and just making sure that they looked fairly distinct from each other. And then did my main characters again. I really like doing these kind of like little mini portraits where like the colours are like swapped and everything. Rune, this is the first time she appeared. Like in my last sketchbook she was everywhere in it, and I think this is the first time she's appeared in it at all, but yeah, anyway, there she is. And here she is again. This one was referenced from Pinterest. This one I think I just kind of did out of my head. Yeah, not much to say about that either. Oh, here I started drawing portraits of statues. I found like a whole bunch on Pinterest as well, and I just really wanted that to capture that kind of like really high contrast light and shadow, and I really had so much fun doing it. I love how this one turned out, and this little one here as well. I think it just looks, I love her expression. And I started bringing that kind of, those elements of like, you know, the dark shadows under the eyes and stuff. I started bringing that into a couple of little designs that I did. So I really like how this one turned out. I just kind of redrew the Mandragora idea again, but with a little bit more detail and kind of with the elements that I had learned from the previous drawings. And I really like how she turned out. And then I did like a really tiny little version of her, and I think she's so cute. That was another one as well. These are just, you know, portrait practices, I guess. I was like drawing from screenshots from like Baldur's Gate 3 of like Raphael and Harlip. I'm not going to show you this one because I hate it, but if you do desperately want to see it, it's available on my Ko-fi if you are a monthly supporter. But I wouldn't pay every month just to see that mess. This was like from another day trip. Oh no, sorry, it was a weekend trip that I did with my mum. And we went to kind of like Dingle area, really nice. This was just kind of like a little landscape that I did from that. These were a couple more that I took from photos. I think I was having a lot of trouble figuring out what to draw again. So I went onto one of those like, you know, Pokemon fusion generators, and this is just kind of what ended up happening. And I love this little Happiny Pidgeot fusion. Didn't know what I was doing there. I think that was just a mess of a day. Forcing myself to draw without really wanting to. So I just did more like studies from statues, and there was this really cute drawing, cute photo of like this hairstyle that I then drew with like Rune's hair. And I find that quite fun actually, like looking up different hairstyles and then like translating them into the length and the texture of like Rune's hair. So I think that came out really nice. It's really cute. I actually quite like this spread. It's really simple. The evening that I was like drawing all of this, I kind of quickly painted down like the clouds, because I remember that the sun was setting, but like it happened so fast and these clouds were like coming in really, really quickly. So there was kind of this window of like 5 or 10 minutes, I think, where the sky was just like half really bright peachy pink and then like really dull kind of purple. And I really just wanted to like really quickly capture that. Then I also drew myself as if I were like a little statue, and that's cute, I think. This was during a body doubling session with Embrace the Space, Lucy, and like on her Patreon, which I would really recommend anybody join, because like it's such a good time. It's so like productive and the vibes are good. Just really nice. So normally it's kind of broken down into 3 20-minute sessions, and on that day this is what I ended up doing. I was just like, okay, I just want to do some life drawing. Not literal life drawing, they were from photos, but yeah, I did, and I think like the colours work well together. I like how I kind of organised things on the page. So yeah, that was fairly successful, I think. This wasn't though. I did that thing with, you know, just random shapes and then trying to see what was in them, and then I had to leave a couple blank because I just couldn't think of anything. This was from like a really bizarre dream that I had one night. I'm not going to go into like what happened, but this wasp creature, weird scary wasp thing with flowers instead of wings from a dream, and it was absolutely trying to rip the head off me. It was really big as well. It was like, I would say like maybe this big in the dream. It was huge, and oh my god, it was so scary. I'm not like afraid of wasps normally. I mean, I dislike them about as much as anybody else, but like, oh, that was such a scary dream. And then yeah, I want to be done with this sketchbook. I was really sick of it at this point. Oh, this was from another body doubling session. So there were only a few of us on the Zoom call, so I did some quick little cartoony kind of portraits of us, and I think that was cute. So there's like Lucy is the host, and then there's Sophie and this other lady who may not want to be mentioned, I'm not sure, and then me. That was fun. And then I drew Dudley, because Dudley, the cat, is a bit of a comfort thing now as well, so he's such a good boy. I love him so much. Oh, Oh, also I started giving art classes in September. So like every week now I do art classes twice a week. These were from like the first kind of session that I did with people, where I was kind of like trying to encourage them to start practicing with sketchbooks and to maybe turn it into a habit. I don't know how successful that was, but like the class itself was really fun. I was just giving them a couple of different exercises, like picking out random materials and creating like little mini abstracts with them, or and then we swapped materials as well, or drawing something that you never really draw. So for me that was cars. I think it was a bit intense maybe for the first class, but I think it went well. I got one of the students to draw the random shape thing in my sketchbook, because I took part in it as well. So we kind of swapped sketchbooks. I don't know, I still found it really hard to like find anything. So this is just kind of what I came up with. Oh, and then I bought myself some Prismacolors. And I drew my Baldur's Gate 3 character. Or one of them. She doesn't really look like this though. I drew her again here. She's a bit more accurate, but she still looks a bit like a mog. This was another landscape picture drawing that I did from when my mum and I were in like West Cork. It's alright, it's not the best thing ever. Oh, these are practice sketches for my Inktober. I'm actually going to show those as well at the end, because at least I'll have something actually nice to show you. Because again, Lucy from Embrace This Space, this lovely lady, she wrote up an entire prompt list for me based on like my OCs, because I was kind of saying like, I'd love to do Inktober, but like, I don't really know what to do. I'd probably only really stick with it if it had anything to do with my OCs. So she was like, oh, I'll do a prompt list for you. And that was brilliant. That helped me a lot. I managed to do like nearly the whole month. But one of them was like your favorite minor character, who is like Rune's cat. So I was trying to practice like how I wanted to draw him. That lasted a couple of pages, and I found like a good little style for him, I think. Like, I drew Rune really young here. She might have been about 7, but he's already an adult cat, which doesn't make any sense, because by the time she's like the age that she is in the comic, which is 17, he is also still an adult cat. So he's either like incredibly old, or I just got the timeline wrong. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's still cute. Oh yeah, so then this was the drawings that I did. These were the drawings that I did for the day 8 prompt, which is a character evolution. So it's Rune when she's maybe about 7 or 8, 9 maybe. And then when she's 13, when she experiences like the loss of like her best friend. So it's kind of metaphorically like she's tripping because she's falling over something like awful. But it's kind of funny because it just looks like her younger self is just like pushing herself. And then she gets really depressed and she suffers like with her grief and everything, and it takes a long time. And then it's like her current day self who has like managed to overcome all of those issues, and obviously is still like affected by it, but not as much as she was. So she's kind of comforting her younger self. These were the sketches for day 11, I think, which is a love interest, but he ended up now being the best friend of Rune's brother. And then that's it. I skipped the last page because I was like, no, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do any more. So I'm going to show you as well now the Inktober drawings that I did. So this is day 1, main character. So of course I had to do Rune. I could have done another character, but he appears later on anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to do something really like bright and sunny. For all of these anyway, I used Copic markers. But then I did do a couple of digital illustrations as well, which I will also show, because they were like, I had more complex ideas for them. So I wanted to make sure that they would look right, and like, you know, that I would be able to draw them the way I imagined them in my head. So I'll show them as well. So day 1 is the main character. Day 2 is the first setting. So I decided to draw Rune like just in her bedroom, because in my mind the comic would open up in her bedroom, not necessarily in this particular scene, but this is kind of like the environment that you would see. So what I did was a lot of these kind of like building settings, I actually built them in The Sims 4, and then I would take screenshots from like all of the different angles that I had in mind to use. I used them to like, okay, I'm going to be really honest here. I traced the screenshots because I'm so bad with perspective, and environmental kind of design and stuff. And for me, my speciality is drawing people. So it's like, I know I can draw people freehand, like fine, but rooms and environments, I just can't do it. And I wanted it to look right. So that's what I did. I would just trace over like the angles and stuff of everything, and then obviously change details and stuff so that it would work for Rune, and then I would be able to place the character in the setting. So sorry if like that really turns you off what I've done, but like that's just the only way I can do it, and you know, not waste too much time. Day 3 was the best friend. So we have the dead friend, May, and then the alive best friend, I guess. Her name's Sharon. She just sits next to Rune in class, and they just get on the best, I suppose. Day 4 is an enemy, which I find is a bit of a strong word because like they're just teenagers. Like, I mean, I guess teenagers can have like enemies with each other, but anyway, she's not. She's just like the bully character, or one of the bully characters, and her name is Honey, and she's still really fun. I like her a lot. Day 5 is the minor character. So these were the results of like all of those test drawings that I did before with the cat, and his name is Lewis, and I love him very much. He is my favourite minor character. Day 6 is just like the first sketches. So I just put together a few of the drawings that I did like of Rune when I solidified her design and when she kind of like found her name, I guess. Day 7 are the latest sketches, so I just had something drawn in like my new sketchbook, so I'll show you that as well. Day 8 is the character evolution, which was in my previous sketchbook, so then this was the result that I put together, and I kind of felt like having the different colours representing the different ages and emotions of each stage. So I don't know if that really kind of comes across properly, but that's how I did it. Day 9 was a key object, and Rune doesn't have a key object, but this guy Reese does. He has this necklace, which was made for him by his little sister, that's all. It's not like this really big intense backstory to it, that's all. His little sister is the only member of his family who he actually gets on well with, so he's very kind of fond of her and fond of this necklace that she made him. Day 10 was a family member, so I decided to draw Rune's brother Rudy. I referenced his post from Pinterest, but this person was actually a man and this was a woman, and I completely blanked on changing the proportions, so now Rune looks like she's way taller than her brother, but it's supposed to be the other way around. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of, hopefully you can kind of see like the dynamic between them. Day 11 is the love interest. So this is Grady. This is how he has turned out. And yeah, he's just a fairly cool guy. Day 12 is a journey. And I'm sure it was supposed to be like a metaphorical journey, but yeah, I ended up just drawing like Rune on her way to school, and it's just like absolutely lashing, and it didn't really turn out like I liked the drawing. I hate the coloring ruined it. So then I did edit it on like an art program, and this is kind of how it ended up, where I think the mood is much more like normal. But yeah, so that was day 12. Day 13, actually I'll do it this way. Day 13 is a happy moment. So this was before May died. They're just, you know, she and Rune are just hanging out, day at the beach, you know, something really innocuous, just a nice kind of moment. Day 14 is the sad moment. So I'll put that up on screen now. And this was just, I had this really specific idea in my head where it's kind of like this shot looking across like a dark, the dark living room into the kitchen, which is brightly lit, and it's like evening, and it's just, you know, a shot of Rune. You don't even see her face, and her mother is like reporting the unfortunate news that May has died. But I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I think it just really captures the mood that I was trying to get. Day 15 is the artist day 1. So I wasn't entirely clear on like what that meant, but like that was clarified to be kind of like how I was when I was younger, when all of these ideas I think started like forming. I said age 15 here. I'm actually not so sure anymore that I was 15 at the time. I think I might have even been younger. I think this was the day where I kind of decided that her name was going to be Rune, and there was this whole kind of like backstory to how I came up with the name based on like misremembering like a celebrity's child's name. I don't really know. Anyway, this is me at whatever age I'm supposed to be at. I still think it's cute. And then day 16 is the artist now, which is me just being like, why can't I just make myself start this comic? What's blocking me? What am I so afraid of? I think I do know why, but it's just, I have to like just make myself do it. That's the hardest part. But I have Dudley at least to give me like moral support. Day 17 is another central character. So this is Reese. He was originally kind of like the main character before Rune kind of like wriggled her way in. But yeah, so Reese is kind of like the main character initially, and there he is. And he's always wearing that necklace. It's like a staple of his design. Day 18 is a fashion style. So I had to do Logan because his fashion style is so eclectic and bright. And yeah, the way I described it, it's kind of like a mishmash of like clown and magician attire. So he's just like really super bright all the time. Day 19 is a different setting. So I really wanted to challenge myself with this one. And I built, in The Sims 4, I built like their classroom. So like all of the rows of tables and chairs. And then I took the screenshot and I just wanted to put as many of the characters in, as many of the classmates in as I could. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I haven't coloured it, and maybe I will one day, I'm not really sure. Like this was already fairly like intense for me. I don't think I've ever drawn this many characters in one panel. And that was really fun. So yeah, that's day 19. Day 20 is another enemy. So again, enemy is a bit strong. This is Austin, Reese's dad, who is not a very nice person. To Reese anyway, and he's quite aggressive towards him and like belittling and everything. So he's not what you'd call a stellar dad. They just have a bit of a rough relationship, that's all. But at the same time, to be fair, Reese is a little bit of a nuisance as well about like towards him. So he doesn't help himself, but in the grand scheme of things, like obviously Austin is the dad. He needs to be responsible and like, you know, try to keep his cool, probably more than he does, but he doesn't. And yeah. So he's just not a pleasant character. Day 21 are body types. I had this idea that, probably see it better this way, where like the heads and the feet were like properly like coloured in and finished and everything, but you could see the construction lines that I do for the bodies. I thought that would be cute. And I like how it turned out. Day 22 is the quietest character. So this is May again with Lewis. And you know, May is dead, so she's not really able to say very much. But I really like how this turned out. And day 23 is the loudest character, who is Logan. Not much else to say there. He looks loud and he is loud. Day 24 is Who Will Everyone Love? Obviously I have absolutely no idea, but in my mind I'm like, Rune's dad, he's very like the opposite of Reese's dad. He's like super compassionate. He's very like with it in terms of like how his kids are feeling and all of that. He's very kind of supportive and encouraging. He's one of those dads who's like really good at like not necessarily understanding up-to-date trends, but he'll make the effort to kind of try and get them. And or Rune and her brother will kind of like include him in those things. And anyway, his name is Diedrich and I just love him very much. Day 25 is the youngest character. So this is Parley, Reese's little sister. That's it, that's all. You can see like even probably compared to the last few times that I've drawn him, he's like way brighter, way happier spending time with his little sister. Yeah, she's so cute, I love her. I love all of them. So this is kind of where I left off on my Inktober. I actually have one more to show, but it's in my other sketchbook, so give me 2 minutes. So this is what I ended up for day 28, which is a theme. So one of the main themes throughout like everything is the symbol of the pansy flower. What I really like about it is that they appear in so many different colours, and a lot of the colours actually have their own different symbolic kind of meanings. And this is an idea that I've had pretty much since I was a teenager regarding all of the characters, where pansy flower would just be a really good way to represent like the overall themes of the story. Like pansies symbolise free thought and remembrance and like love. So I was like, well, love could include platonic love as well, of course. So, you know, all of the love that they have together as friends, as well as like between family members. And even though they all look different and they're all different colours and they all mean something different, ultimately at the end of the day, they are still the same type of flower. They represent individuality, but also kind of like the unity of people. And I personally think that's really nice. Day 31 is a working title, so May Your Troubles Be Less was kind of the title that I'd settled on. Initially I had tried to come up with something referencing pansies as well, but I was like, it's probably a little bit like cartoonish, I guess. I don't know, I wanted to sound like something a little bit more grounded. So May Your Troubles Be Less kind of came up. It's from like an Irish blessing, but I thought that would be a really nice way of capturing like the feeling of the whole kind of comic idea that I have. So yeah, that's it. I'll just put this back here so you can there's something to look at on the screen. That's the end of my sketchbook tour. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know it was really long, but I hope that it was fun to look at anyway. And thanks for watching, and I will see you whenever I next see you. So bye.